9 days till Travers, and we got you covered. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Trust the Profits YouTube channel. I am the Formula, and I am here today to talk about Travers. It is August 18th today, on the day I am recording this, and we still have 9 days until Travers is going to be run. We have a list of probables, though, that we're going to go through, that I'm going to go through, so we can at least get the discussion started. I'm even going to tell you some way too early picks without even knowing the odds or post position. So, as I told you before, Travers, August 27th at Saratoga, as you all know, 10 furlongs. So we got ourselves a long race. The jockeys that I'm noting, don't know for sure whether those are going to be the jockeys. They're the historical jockeys that have ridden those horses. But I will note them in my slides coming up for you here. Let's start at the top. Epicenter, 3 wins, 3 second places in the last 6 races. Pretty much the favorite in every race he's been in. Second place in both Preakness and the Derby, was expected to win both. Obviously, was definitely expected to win the Derby until Rich Strike had other things to say. Winner of the Jim Dandy recently, Grade 2 race, beating ZANDON by 1.5 lengths for a 1:49 time and 9 furlongs. Early voting was the lead early on in that race and fell back to fourth. So yeah, I'm thinking going into this, Epicenter, the likely favorite, a very possible winner, definitely going to be in the conversation. You don't see Epicenter fall out of the top 2 or 3. Steve Asmussen and Joel Rosario is the jockey there. I think any play you have, you got to be considering Epicenter for the Travers. That part is obvious. Next up is Zandon. Zandon, pretty much the bridesmaid of the Derby Trail. When you talk about races with with Epicenter. So last win was at the Bluegrass Stakes. Came in second at the Jim Dandy to Epicenter. Came in third to Epicenter and Rich Strike at the Derby. Likely to be the third favorite in my opinion. Hard to tell who's going to get the morning line odds at this point, because there are a lot of really good horses in this race. It's going to be a great one. We have a great lineup, as I showed you on the previous slide. It's a closer, could end up in the money, often has. Chad Brown, Flavian Pratt. This is one of Chad Brown's 3 horses in this race, and most likely his best one, the one that has the best chance to shake things up. Although, like I said, he's been a bridesmaid. Next up, we have CYBERKNIFE. CYBERKNIFE has had an interesting journey. Started off maybe a little bit cold, I guess you could say, on the Derby Trail, but last 5 races, don't look now, but he's got 4 wins, including a G1 win at Haskell, setting a new track record, 146.24. Previous to that, won the Matt win, a 141.99, 1 second off the track record there. Obviously, the race that he didn't win in those 5 races was the Derby. Came in 18th place there. One of the horses that got caught up in the early pace. Did not pan out well for CYBERKNIFE there. CYBERKNIFE, though, stock on the rise, sexy pick, and spoiler alert, I think he's going to be my pick to win. I think his stock is on the rise just enough to say that this is going to be a pretty strong horse here, even contending with Epicenter. Brad Cox might have himself a nice little late blooming gem here. Early voting. This is the Preakness winner, 1 over Epicenter. A little bit of a surprise for some people. Lost the Jim Dandy to Epicenter, though. Got up in the early pace there, couldn't sustain it. Epicenter and the rest of the small field blew past him at the end. 5 races in his history, 3 wins, 1 second place, and the 4th place that we just talked about. This is a possible pace setter in this race. There's a couple other horses in here that could be setting it, but don't be surprised if early voting is up there in it. Chad Brown and Joel Ortiz. Early voting is another strong candidate here, as well as we got to talk about Rich Strike, the unlikely Kentucky Derby winner. 9 races, 2 wins, a maiden claimer, and the Derby. And a couple 3rd places in there as well. Rest of those finishing out of the money. Got a 3rd place at Turfway Park to enter into the Derby. Followed up the Derby at Belmont. People wondering what they're going to see from him, and didn't see a whole lot. 6th place finish. Thought that Belmont may have set up well for him, given the fact that he does have an inclination for distance. and only made up really 2 spots from being in 8th place for most of that race. So not exactly the performance that saw at the Derby. Obviously, we talk about the Derby, we talk about the torrid pace that got set there. Horses falling by the wayside, not able to complete that race as strong as Rich Strike was able to do. Really need something like that to happen here, and I really doubt it's going to happen. So I would say unlikely to duplicate that in this group, unfortunately, for Rich Strike, everyone's favorite horse. Charge It coming up next. Todd Pletcher horse here won the Dwyer Stakes at Belmont by 23 lengths, a 1 mile race. Came in 17th place, much in the same pack that CyberKnife was in at the Derby. Uh, a horse that we haven't seen a whole lot from. Seen, I think, maybe 4 or 5 races out of Charge It so far. As of right now, I see him finishing outside of the money. 23 lengths ahead at Belmont. That's pretty impressive. I'm curious to see what he does here because this is a big step up in terms of distance, especially with the class of horses that we have here. Right now, I do have him finishing outside of the money. But we'll see. Once we put it through the formula, we'll see what happens. So let's talk about the rest. We got 4 more horses to talk about here. Atorius, the horse that I always want to call atrocious when I see his name, the third Chad Brown horse, won the Curlin Stakes at Saratoga. Of the rest, I think he might be the one of those outside horses that you could look to pair in and possibly fit into a superfecta or a trifecta, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz, um, pretty impressive horse here, a little bit of a late bloomer, one that we didn't really hear about on the Derby Trail. Skippy Longstocking ran great at the slop in Mountaineer, setting a pretty good time at the West Virginia Derby. Came in third at Belmont as well. Before that, fifth at Preakness. This is a horse that I feel like is constantly getting a little bit better. Has shown that he can run with the big boys. This is a horse I, I also have in here as being same with Atorius as being a horse that could slip into the money. You always get those horses that make the trifecta a little bit fatter because they found a way to get in second or third. I think Atorius and Skippy Longstocking could be those 2 horses for you in this race, and I'm very curious to see what the odds are going to shake out for those 2. Ain't Life Grand. The Prairie Meadows Dominator won the Iowa Derby and the Iowa Stallion Stakes. A little bit outclassed here. Great horse. I'm curious to see what he does. Maybe he's a surprise here, but I think based on what I've seen of Ain't Life Grand, I don't know if he's going to stack up here against the big boys. Maybe in a lower grade stakes race, he could do a little bit more damage, maybe even win. But I think right here it's a little bit tough of an ask for him, as well as for Gilded Age, the Bill Mott trained horse. Came in second at the Curlin, but really, when you look at his record, hasn't really shown a whole lot to say that he can hang with this crowd. Probably going to be a nice horse to watch in there to help fill out the crowd, but I don't see a lot happening from Gilded Age. So let's look at the strategy. As I said before, no odds at this time. We don't know the post positions. This is 9 days out. But what I'm looking forward to now, CyberKnife, I think is a good option to place to win. I think Epicenter is going to get a large chunk of the money. I think CyberKnife was probably going to get a little bit of that as well, but I don't think he'll become the favorite. I think you'll get a pretty good price on him to win, and I think he's got a great chance to win because of the way he's been improving since the Derby. I also like Epicenter and CyberKnife as an exacta box, depending on how the public feels about ZANDON, depending on how much money even goes towards Rich Strike, Charge It, a couple of those other horses. Maybe the odds on Epicenter and CyberKnife and exacta box would end up paying out pretty nicely. And then I like doing my trifecta key boxes. So Epicenter is the key because I think he has the best chance to win, place, or show. Epicenter, I mean, barely finishes outside the top 2 ever. CyberKnife, Skippy Longstocking, and Atoria. So what I'm looking for here is an Epicenter CyberKnife show with Skippy Longstocking or Atorius to somehow squeeze in there and give me some boost in the odds. It's going to be a $9 ticket at minimum. But I'm hoping to get some odds here on those last 2 and hope that one of them can break up the show with Charge It, ZANDON, pushing them out of the way a little bit and seeing a nice little trifecta with Epicenter, CyberKnife, Skippy Longstocking, Notorious in the mix. That's what I've got for you now. Trust the profits. We got 9 days till Travers. We're going to be putting out more videos. Please hit that subscribe button. Jam it as soon as you can. And thanks for watching. Have a good day.